What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another build video here in Remnant 2. In today's video I'm bringing you my version of the Havoc form build from the Archon class. I was able to bully this Ripsaw aberration on Apocalypse difficulty, and I believe that you can do the same thing. Let me show you guys the build, and I'll show you some more bosses towards the end of the video. I was able to do a full Losum run, and I was just absolutely bullying everything on Apocalypse. Just before I dive into the build video, guys, I just want to let you know I did complete the campaign finally on Apocalypse difficulty. I was able to beat Annihilation on stream from my latest stream, so some of the items in this build do require Apocalypse completion, but I do have some alternatives that you can use as well that will still make this build very viable. So if you want to check out that stream, I'll put a link up in the cards right now, and then go check that out. It's a fun moment. It's an awesome time. But without further ado, let's get right into the build. Alright, so first things first, we are using the Ritualist archetype as the primary, just so we can have Vile. Vile is absolutely busted, and we're using the Miasma skill because we are going to be applying statuses to further increase our damage. And then of course, this wouldn't be the Havoc form build without the Havoc form from the Archon class. And then moving on to the armor, I'm using the Labyrinth head, the Bruiser chest, then the Labyrinth boots and gloves. And we're using the Bone Saw in this build, and we're using corrosive rounds with the Momentum Mutator because we want to try and hit our crits as much as possible. I'm using World's Edge with the Tainted Blade because, again, I just want to stack Corroded. This combination is just absolutely busted. And then we're using Nebula again for another corrosion stack, and also Harmonizer to increase the mod damage, just to have a nice backup while we're using the Havoc form. Now, we are using the Hyperconductor Amulet. We gain the double skill charges, and it also increases our skill cooldowns. But we have the Devoured Loop Ring, which is a Apocalypse item. Now, real quick, you can replace the Hyperconductor with the Legacy Protocol Amulet, and then use the Sapphire Dreamstone Ring to replace the Devoured Loop Ring. It'll still work just as good and reduce those cooldowns, but we basically want to try and pop the Devoured Loop to gain back Miasma and the Havoc form. And I'm using the Shade Stone to further increase the skill damage, a Hane Crystal to get the benefits from the Miasma skill, and then we're also using Burden of the Destroyer just to further boost our damage. Now you could replace the Shadestone with the Burden of the Gambler because the Havoc form does not pop weak spots. This will further increase the crit chance. This is a great alternative. I mean, if you just want to have more crit chance, I mean, that's normally what people use, but I just like seeing more damage, so you could use that as well. Now moving on to the traits, we're using the Affliction because we want the status effects to have a long duration, not for the damage itself, but that way while we're in our Havoc form, we get those 4 stacks of status effects to apply to our Havoc form damage as long as possible. Now we're also using Flashcaster from the Archon, Fortify, so we can take some hits from while we're wearing the armor. Strong back, so we can still have a medium roll. Swiftness for movement speed, so you can float all over the map. AoE size from the Miasma skill. Glutton and footwork. While you're holding the lightning tendrils, you can move faster with the footwork trait. And then, of course, vigor. I have a point in triage, and then bark skin for further survivability. And then I also have Siphoner for life steal, so that way we can gain life as we are doing the Havoc form. And as for our relic, we are using the Tranquil Heart. This build is not possible, I feel like, without this relic. I'm using mod skill cast speed, healing effectiveness, and of course further increasing the skill damage. Just having the passive health while in Havoc form is just absolutely amazing, and then popping it before going into Havoc form is also viable as well. So pretty much what we want to do is we want to apply as many stacks. So we have 1 stack of this, we have this, Tainted Blade, Corrosive Rounds, Miasma, and then pop Havoc form. And we are just doing continuous amounts of damage. You see all those stacks, just constantly applying while we are in our Havoc form. And the reason why, like I said, we want to have those status effects to linger as much as possible, so that way we can just have this damage buff as long as possible. And then with the Devoured Loop Ring, we want to try and pop our crits. Now, sometimes, it'll, pop while we are in Havoc form. But the whole point of the corrosive rounds with the MG Bonesaw is that way we can pop crits as much as possible. That way we can trigger the Devoured Loop to try and reset our skills, especially to get the Havoc form, because with the Hyperconductor Amulet it does increase your cooldown by quite a bit. But when you get those, when you get that pop from the Devoured Loop, we gain both charges back. So we can just have a continuous Havoc form with the Miasma, so that way we can just continuously deal damage and be in Havoc form as much as possible. Alright, so I want you guys to look in the bottom right hand corner as I'm shooting them with the Bonesaw with the corrosive rounds. You'll see the skills get refreshed, and that way we can pop my Miasma again and then enter Havoc form. That way, that is the point of the Devoured Loop. We would just want to pop crits, so that way we can just constantly refresh our charges. Like I said, you can use the Sapphire Dreamstone and also the Legacy Protocol to reduce the cooldowns, so that way you can get that as well. But I just feel like having double charges with the amount of crit chance, we'll be able to constantly have Havoc form over and over and over again. So I just want to show you guys in a concoction that I like to run with this Havoc form build just to have more survivability. Go ahead and cop Mudtooth Tonic, increase health by 25. You could use the root water if you want, but I feel like just having some more health while we are in the Havoc form is just a good way, especially on Apocalypse difficulty. But that is pretty much it for the build, guys. I'm going to show you guys some bosses and just watch how I absolutely melt them.
ain't looking good.
Let me have my retreat. I promise.
And that's going to wrap things up for this build video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as we try to post videos almost every single week, and we live stream every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you guys want to check out that stream, like I said, go ahead and check that out. Finally complete Apocalypse, and hope you guys enjoy this build. And if you guys have any build ideas that you guys want to drop down in the comments, I'll be more than happy to take a look and try to put something together for y'all. And with all that out of the way, I'll see you on the next video. Deuces.